My mates have teased me for several years now about my bad hearing in noisy environments. I think I might have some hearing damage from years of playing in what some people consider as noise in a rock band. And it turns out that age-related hearing loss can start as young as 40 in some people. That's me next year. Should I be worried?
Who better to ask than audiologist and speech pathologist Dr. Cherise Hine at Melbourne's La Trobe University. She also likes travelling. To see if being a wannabe rock star in my youth has affected my hearing, Dr. Cherise has set up a demonstration for us.
We're going to have a bit of fun listening to some sounds today.
I'll be comparing my hearing to a group of people younger and older than me. Being the good sport he is, Sandro has volunteered his own flesh and blood.
Dr. Sandro's mother Lynn and grandmother Betty.
Lynn is 65 years old and Betty 94.
We do know that as you get older, your hearing might deteriorate. It doesn't happen for everybody.
This isn't a formal hearing test, but a guide to the impact of aging on our hearing that we can all do.
So the older you get, the harder hearing becomes, and the younger you are, you've probably got good hearing if you haven't been to many loud concerts. So around 39, 40, we start getting a degeneration of the auditory pathway.
It's me and you. High five. High five for hearing loss.
For this demo, we're facing outwards from a speaker that's positioned in the middle of our little circle.
So you're going to be hearing a tone. It's a continuous tone, so it will start from a very low tone and it will work its way up to a very high sound. So as soon as you hear the tone, take a step forward and remain forward for as long as you can hear the tone. As soon as you stop hearing the tone, take a step backwards. If you haven't heard anything at all, then you don't get to take that step forward.
High tones are picked up by the hairs that line the outer channel of our cochlea and are therefore most prone to damage. Low tones are picked up by the inner hairs lining our cochlea, or inner ear. Because they are more protected, they are less vulnerable to damage.
So what we're predicting is that the young people will move forward a bit quicker and stay forward for longer than the older people.
And I've also heard that some shops stop teenagers loitering outside by playing a high-pitched sound.
Correct.
To get rid of them,
yes.
But so the adults can continue to come in and out.
Yes, correct.
Is that
there was? Yes, it was.
Okay, here's your chance to play along at home.
What the fuck? I don't hear a thing. Oh my god.
I know it's not a competition, but Sandro's 94-year-old grandmother, Betty, has just stepped forward, and I haven't heard a thing yet. Wow, I can't see anyone else, but I've stepped back before Betty, which means while I can't hear anything anymore, she can still hear the tone. Maybe Betty wasn't a budding rock star in her youth.
Okay, well done everybody.
How do we all go?
It was really interesting. Everybody stepped out pretty quickly with the low tones, but it was the high tones. The young people remained out of the circle for longer. We do know that the higher the noise exposure, the quicker you'll get a hearing loss. So traffic noise, probably about 80 to 90 decibels, enough to give you hearing loss. You're doing that for long enough. So the higher the noise, the less time you can spend in that noise. High frequency noise, factories, workplaces, lawn mowers. So that's why it's really good when I see somebody mowing the lawn and wearing earmuffs.
That's not good news for an old muso like me. If 94-year-old Betty seems to have better hearing than I do, that's cause for concern. And that's what Dr. Cherise thinks too.
let's do a formal hearing assessment and let's check out your hearing and see if you've got any difficulties.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Well, even though it's probably damaged my hearing, I still can't live without my music. Which makes me wonder, which of your senses do you derive the most enjoyment from?
Smell of your child, smell of the person you love, smell of fresh tomatoes, wet grass.
Seeing my children's faces and admiring the beauty of parts of this world.
Taste. I couldn't live without fruit or wine.
But if you don't have the use of one or more of your senses, it doesn't have to hold you back. Helen Keller lost her sight and hearing as a Beethoven almost completely lost his hearing, but was still able to compose masterpieces, such as the Ninth Symphony. Like Beethoven, it may be that I have permanent hearing damage.
If you can just face forward.
And that's what Dr. Charisse is about to test me for.
Well, you've got very clean.
I've got clean ears.
Too clean.
Ooh.
Too clean. You've been cleaning your ears.
I do clean my ears.
Not a good thing to do.
Don't clean
No,
your ears?
no, you need earwax.
I feel so good with the earbuds. Like, oh.
No, I hear that a lot.
Yeah?
But the rule of thumb is nothing goes into the ear that's smaller than your elbow. So
Smaller than your elbow?
That size. Earwax protects anything from flying into the ears,
Okay.
like an insect, for example. And you really don't want an insect flying into your
No,
ear.
I do not.
So a little bit of earwax is good. So quite a
Incluso evita de que crezcan bacterias externas que no queremos en la piel del oído interno. Entonces no es bueno que quitemos esa cerilla que tenemos ahí para proteger, justamente porque las bacterias no pueden crecer en esa cerilla. Entonces evitas problemas de infección auditivas. Pero es muy diferente cuando te da alguna infección por gripe. Ese ya viene por la trompa de Eustaquio desde la garganta hacia el oído. Porque el oído tiene dos vías de llegada. Bien por la trompa de Eustaquio y bien por el canal auditivo. Así que mucho cuidado, gente.
A lot of wax build-up. Best thing to do is to go off to your GP and talk about how the
Get rid of that
earwax.
safely.
Correct. No poking in the ears.
Okay, make the ears a dig-free zone. But
Since earwax has been ruled out as the cause of my hearing loss, it's on to a formal hearing test.
I'm going to put the headphones over your ears.
Yep.
And you're going to be hearing some beeps.
Okay.
And every time you hear a beep, what I want you to do is press the button.
Okay.
So you're going to hear some very low tones.
Mhm.
You're going to hear some very high tones. So we might take your glasses off just so
Sure.
that it's more comfortable.
No worries.
Just put them over here.
So are these like the tones we heard in the demonstration?
No, not exactly the same because this is a proper hearing assessment. How does that feel? Good?
Very comfortable.
Good. Excellent. Okay, we're going to start now.
All right.
Good.
I'm not alone in being hard of hearing. What's that, you say? Over 5% of the world's population, that's 360 million people, have some form of hearing loss.
Okay, Charlene, that was good, except there's one frequency that I'm a little bit concerned about.
Okay.
So put on your glasses and I'm going to explain exactly what we've done. And what we're looking at is the softest tone you can hear per ear, per frequency. And when we come to the high frequencies, we can see your right ear is fine.
Yeah.
But yes, you actually do have a bit of a hearing loss in your left ear.
On my left ear.
So you have a sensory neural hearing loss in that area. So sensory neural meaning cochlea or beyond the cochlea.
Okay. So it's right in there.
It's right in there.
But could this account for my poor hearing in loud environments?
Yes, because a lot of the consonants that we hear in speech, like this and the sh sounds, are reliant on good hearing in those frequencies.
Being exposed to loud music in my youth is probably the cause of my poor hearing. But strangely, only one of my ears is affected. That's something gun shooters, rather than budding rock stars, are more likely to suffer from.
You need to protect your ears, certainly from that loud music that you were talking about.
Yes. Well, those days are over.
Okay.
Sadly, the damage is permanent and may get worse as I get older. I might even need a hearing aid one day.
What'd you say, old chap? Speak up.
Hearing aids have come a long way since the ear trumpet. But the most profound transformation in hearing technology happened in 1982. Cochlear implants.
Cochlear implants.
Yes.
So this would be suitable for somebody with hearing loss in both ears, probably of the more severe to profound nature.
Okay.
So sound is picked up in the speech processor, goes through the magnetic coil to the electrode array in the cochlea.
Wow. So does that require surgery?
It does. So they open up the ear,
Right.
and they insert this as a flap just underneath the skin.
So you're taking sound from the outside and feeding it directly into the inner ear.
You are. Yeah.
That's extraordinary. If I'd known just how much loud noise would impact my ability to socialise, I'd have probably worn earplugs more frequently to gigs when I was younger. And I'll stop cleaning my ears with cotton buds to avoid infection and pushing wax into the eardrum, making me even deafer. And as much as carrots won't necessarily help us see better, green veggies will probably help.